Hello, I'm Lars Sage, Gallery Manager of the Art Center of Estes Park, and I invite you to enjoy the second of a series of additional interviews focusing on photography. I welcome the second of our photographers in the series, Larry Purdy. Larry's been an artist member since May of 2007. Welcome, Larry.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, when did you get started in photography?
1988.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there at my desk looking at my to-do list thinking I need to get a life. I had a couple guys that I worked with, they took camping trips and they'd come back and they'd talk about what they did and everything, and there was a lot of camera stuff, pictures. These were pretty good photographers. So I got weaseled in with them, bought a used camera, took off, went out. Then in 1996, we were in the Guadalupe Mountains in Texas. The colors were outstanding. Guadalupe Mountains has a lot of hardwood, red, beautiful colors. So we're there, and we woke up one morning. Our tents were, the sides were in, and we had about 3 to 4 inches of snow on the ground, light snow. It was magnificent. So I went out. I stood in one spot and did a 360. I mean, it was that beautiful. Well, I got my images back. They were all, it was all slides at that time. So I finally got them back, and I'm looking at them, and I'm thinking, boy, this isn't my stuff. This isn't at all what I saw or what I felt, So I called my buddy, and I said, David, you need to look at my stuff. And I took it over, and he looked at it. He said, gosh, you got some great color. Well, hey, I could have dropped the camera and got good color. So he said, so you want to start taking good pictures? And and it just hit me. It's like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And that was really the start of the journey. And it's still a journey, So 96, I've been doing it a long time. Took a few classes, took a few workshops, but yeah. I mean, that's basically how I got started in this, because it was fun.
So what types of photographs best describes your work?
Okay, I do a lot of landscapes, but I'm really, really into intimate landscapes. And there's a difference.
I was going to ask you, what is that?
For instance, this guy right here, you got, a landscape, you got to have a great foreground. You got to have your middle ground that's beautiful, and you got to have probably sky. That's a landscape shot. So I sat there and I'm looking at it, and I go, that's a beautiful image. Well, but then I asked myself, what are you taking a picture of? Are you taking a picture of these aspens? Are you taking a picture of the mountains? Are you taking a picture of in this particular instance, blah sky, So what are you taking a picture of? And that, to me, you need to know that. So I look at this and I go, you know what? Look at that. Those white trunks right there with the green and the yellow. That's what catches my eye. That's what I take, and that's my intimate landscape. Flowers, for instance, same thing. You do flowers. So that's kind of my thing right now.
Okay.
I like that. And the reason I like it, I did a workshop with Rocky Mountain School of Photography. We had to send in 3 pictures for them to critique. So we're sitting there in the workshop, and mine come up, and it was like really silent. And I'm thinking, oh, this is good, because he really likes this. And he goes, whose is this? And I went, Doug, it's mine. He goes, Larry, he said, there's got to be a picture in here somewhere. That's a true story, man. More is not better in photography. You got to keep it simple. That's the whole process.
Well, you've been doing this for a long time. What has changed in the way you approach your photography now?
Equipment. I shot film for quite a while, and I didn't want to go to digital, but I finally ended up doing it when my lab in Dallas, Texas was shipping all my pictures, all my images to California to get processed. And I'm thinking, well, you know what, maybe it's time to go digital. So I did. But digital has a lot of pluses. I mean, if you take a bad picture, not composition wise, but just a bad picture, it's going to tell you. I mean, it's not going to make the composition for you, but if it's going to tell you if the lights are blown out, it's going to tell you if your horizontal or vertical is correct. So it tells you a lot of good things. It does some bad things for you. It makes you really lazy.
Oh, okay.
It makes you really lazy because you can image. You see it right away. So you're taking it. You're doing this. You're looking back and forth because you see it immediately. So got to work on that. Got to work on that. But it does. It's a good deal. So basically that. And your the stuff that you work on your pictures with on the computer, I mean they got some incredible software out there. I mean you can make them every picture that you look at today. I'll bet you $100 has been modified one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the name of the game. But you still got to use a tripod. I don't care what anybody says, you still got to use a tripod.
So what do you look at before you push that shutter button?
Well, it's kind of all personal, but Larry thinks that you're taking a picture of light. That's basically what you're taking a picture. If you got bad light, you're not going to get a good image no matter what you do. You need good light. Good light for me is early morning. Just before that sun comes up, the colors, aspen colors, just pop. Evening light, same thing. You got side lit, you got backlit sometimes. That's hard to do. Front light is not my cup of tea. It's too flat, makes everything flat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the light. It's nothing but the light. And then you look at the edges. Is there a branch sticking in there? Is there another branch sticking in there? Do you have a fence that you didn't see? Those kind of things. Did you cut off the top of that flower? You got to look. You got to look at that, what you're taking a picture of and say, hey, what does not belong? Mm-hmm. Other than that, that's what I look for.
Okay. Do you have any memorable moments when you've been out taking a picture and...
Memorable moments. Wow. The first time that wife and I, we went up to Jackson, Wyoming. I've never been up to Tetons. Wow. The Tetons are pretty awesome. The Rockies are just, you can't get any better. But the Tetons, they're just like, bam, they're out of the ground like this. They're like pointed. What is that about? But other than that, memorable, it just depends on the place. A lot of places are not, what's nice? Texas Hill Country in the spring, the bluebonnets down there. Mm-hmm. That's memorable. You hit that right, and you can smell them, the odor. It's just incredibly beautiful down there. And this is again Dallas. When I lived in Dallas bloom in May. The Dallas Bloom Arboretum has a tulip festival. Millions of tulips. Just, you've never seen anything like it in your life. Of course, the Rocky Mountain, I love Colorado. Now I live in God's country, okay? Now I live in Colorado, and I like Wyoming both. They're all memorable. But that's, nothing pops. I don't have any animals chasing me. Okay?
Well, that's all right.
I know it.
Don't need that for
I know it.
So, do you have any favorite places? I know
Yeah.
you said Tetons, but is there other?
Yeah, when I lived in Texas, the bluebonnets down there in the hill country, and then the Dallas bloom would just, we went every year to the hill country. The two guys that I did photography with, and when you hit it right, it's just incredible. We just got back from Twin Lakes, which is between Buena Vista and Leadville. Mm-hmm. And everybody said this year's a horrible year. Well, you know what? It's not. It was gorgeous down there. It was It was really pretty. We even zipped over the Crested Butte down Kebra Pass, and it was, again, it was great. And everybody said, oh man, it's been dry, the leaves are gonna turn brown and fall off. Well, that is true, a lot of them did, but there's a lot of them, there's still some green down there. So I like everywhere. You know what I'm hunting for?
What's that?
I'm still hunting for that cover shot, okay? I haven't got it yet.
Hey, you still got plenty of time.
I know
to
it,
find that.
I know it.
Well, thanks, Larry.
No problem.
You're welcome, and appreciate your sharing your views about photography. I I've interviewed other artists. Every person has their own kind of perspective, So, and I think that's what's encouraging. That there's no necessarily one right way of doing everything at the
No.
same time. It's always something.
No, there's always rules, but they always need to be broken.
Oh, why not?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
You're welcome to come visit the Art Center and view Larry Purdy's photography, along with our featured artist, Carol Gregory, and all the other of our creative artists that we have here as members of the Art Center. The Art Center is located between Safeway and Subway in Middle Stanley Village, and we are open Friday through Monday from 12 to 4. Thanks again, Larry.
No problem. Thank you. Enjoy it. Enjoy the Art Center.